Well, hello YouTube, welcome back. I've seen you for a while. I hope you're all well. So for this video, there's been so much victim blaming going on, victim shaming going on. There's been all sorts going on. Okay, there's been a new case, the Idaho 4, that's triggered a new energy into the tragedy pimps. They've gone after this case like they go after anything, like a dog with a bone, and it stirred up a lot of feelings in a lot of people, me being one of them. Some of this stuff that's been going on has been disgusting. So I thought we'd review some of it, not to necessarily attack or belittle the people doing it, but to point out the behaviours, talk about them, right? And just explore some of that, see what we pick up from it. There's the Brian Kohlberger dude. There's been, they found these, what were they? He'd been commenting on this forum years ago when he was a lot younger, and he's left some interesting stuff, the things that he's wrote. Okay, so I thought I'd go through that as well at the same time, get this video recorded about the tragedy pimps and looking at what's going on with the victim blaming and shaming and all the narcissism involved in it. And then I thought we'd take a look at Brian Kohlberger, because some of the things that he's wrote in this forum are super interesting. And so far, I haven't heard anyone say what I've picked up, and I've listened to a lot of people discuss them so far. Well, I think I have. Well, not a lot. How many? About 5? A handful? But for the community, or the channels are frequent, they've all had really insightful things to say, but I haven't heard anyone say what I think. So I thought I might delve into that a little bit as well. So stay tuned. I'm going to flip over, pull up the videos on the screen, and give it a go. We'll see you in a minute. Okay, I've got on to Betty, Bullhorn Betty. So we're going to take a listen and see what she has to say. A bit of a brief backstory. This crime that's happened with the Idaho 4, the 4 college students killed, stabbed to death in their sleep, or believed to be at least in bed. They've got the guy who they think it might be, right? And while he was doing this, we don't know yet how it went down. We don't know from how he got from A to Z, all right? So from approaching the property to hurting these people and then getting back out of the house, getting in his car and driving away. We don't know all the finer details of that yet, because the details aren't available, and they've now put a gag order on the case, so we'll have to wait till he goes to trial. Nobody's allowed to discuss the case, like lawyers, solicitors, even the media. They've been told, you know, you can't be asking questions through the court or the medical examiner. Anybody that's been involved with this case, they're not allowed to be talking about it. Witnesses, whatever, right? So when he killed the 4 people, Ethan, Xana, Kaylee and Maddie, the other girl in the building saw him briefly before he left. She got a look at him, all right? And she said he had like a mask on, like a COVID mask, and he was in black, and he left. She felt fear or froze and shut a door and went back in the bedroom, and then it was like midday, 12 o'clock. This was happening like 4 in the morning, between 4 and 5 in the morning. And then it was like midday by the time the bodies were discovered in the house and the police were called. So it was a whole mess, because obviously she'd gone back in a room. She'd already been in bed since 1 a.m, I believe. So she'd had interrupted sleep, gone back to sleep, got up, because she'd come to her door 3 times. Can't make out if anything's going on or nothing's going on. And then she just shut the door. She'd had a fearful moment, gone back in a room. I don't know what she thought. She locked the door, and I assume she got back in bed. Anyway, when the bodies were later discovered, that part of the story hasn't been released. Exactly how they were discovered, where they were, and how that came to happen. Did she come out of a room? Did she call someone from inside a room first? Did she try and get one of the bedrooms? Did she see everything? We don't know exactly what happened, but we do know that somebody was unconscious outside the house that was believed to have collapsed or fainted after seeing what was in the house on the other floors and in the other bedrooms. And then they just, like, you know, fled the house, ran outside, screaming, shouting, whatever. That's just the image I have built up in my head. Then what Ethan was a triplet, and one of his, I think it was his brother, was in the area. They are literally across the road. So one of the girls or somebody had called the brother, and then the brother had brought somebody with him because he knew somebody else knew or was close to somebody else in the house. So anyway, then the police finally got there, right? So it was a whole load of, it's all confusing, the story. It doesn't make sense. It makes sense with it all being students that it would be like this, right? But the victim, the girl that saw the killer or the believed killer, she's getting a lot of stick on social media. She's being bullied. She's being called trans. There's a whole Twitter account dedicated to bullying her. There are channels dedicated to talking about why she didn't call for the police, call for an ambulance. She could have saved the lives of the other ones. She's taking a lot of heat, this witness. She hasn't made a statement. She won't be allowed to now. So we don't know the finer details of her experience and what she went through and what she saw, what she didn't saw, what happened when she did see it, when she, in the next day, when she had got up at midday and started moving around the house, noticing things were strange, and then she finds it's not even one dead body, it's 4 dead bodies, kids the same age as her, slashed to death in this house, right? So it's pretty horrific. Which is why it blows my mind that grown adults our age, 40s and 50s, want to attack a kid for not realizing what was going on in the house or not acting in the way we think she should act. All right. Now, a lot of these, I've noticed with a lot of these true crime channels that cover these cases, they're more about, they make it about themselves in a way a lot of the time. If there's a bit of a mystery to a case, they will make it about themselves. They will presume the person has the inner workings that they have, the inner thought patterns, the inner logic, the inner coping skills. They assume the victim of the story or any innocent bystanders to have the same inner workings as they do, because they immediately, all these true crime channels, project, well, I would do this, well, I would have done that, well, she should have done this, and why didn't she do that? They don't for a minute put themselves in another person's shoes and consider, there's 100 different possibilities that could be the reason for why, when she felt fear, she didn't call the police. I have felt fear. I feel fear several times a day, okay? I live in a hypervigilant state. Most of the time that I have felt fear, it's been nothing. It's been me being silly, right? There's been times, even as a grown adult and a mother with 2 children that's supposed to be, the strong protector, there's been times when I've been scared and not wanted to go and see what it was, and not gone to see what it was. Unfortunately, I've been lucky enough that when I did wake up in the morning, whatever it was that was going on was nothing, right? But you feel fear often. You can feel fear often, and it isn't anything. It can be a paranoia, it can be a triggered emotional reaction, it can be silliness, it can be, I don't know, sometimes even as an adult we revert back to being little children and I don't want to go and see what it is. Or we believe we've heard something, or something makes a noise after we've watched something scary or eerie or psychologically freaky, right? And then you hear something or whatever, what was that? And often your mind will just become your enemy and start scaring you even more. Well, it could have been this and it could have been that, and what if it was that and this? Your paranoia kicks in, and before you know it, you're under your duvet, excuse me, sweating, terrified as a grown adult, and it's a tree branch dragging across your window that the wind's blowing, right? So then there's other instances I felt fear around my friends, boyfriends or partners or friends of friends growing up, especially in my 20s and 30s. There's been times I have felt fear and not done anything, but there was no need to act because there was no threat. Even though you feel fear, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a threat, okay? Sometimes it can be your instinct. This is not a good person. There's something about this person that is striking me as cold, right? I've had those vibes. I assume other people have had those vibes where you just get this really staunch, cold, blatant vibe. This person, no, right? This person is freaky. They're creeping me out, right? And they don't even need to have done anything, and you can be creeped the fuck out. And you'll move away. There's been times I've had to tolerate feeling fear in order to keep a friend comfortable, or a friend happy, or a sibling happy. There's been times where, like, because I try and put myself in her shoes. I have seen the footage, how the partying was. I mean, there was people walking in and out of that house like it was their own. Excuse me, it was surreal. The amount of people that were just allowed to be in that house, opening the front door, hiya, oh, it's the police, or they're sitting around the back, drinking beer, doing whatever it is they're doing. It was just like a free-for-all for everybody in all those houses. They just all seemed to be this, like, party street. That's what it was, just party street, right? You get bored of the party in this house, just go down the road to the next house and see what's going on there. Seriously, that's what it was like, right? Because you can see it all on the body cams when the police are walking up to the house. There's 3 girls coming out with bloody hot pants on, little tiny vests, and they're leaving this party and they're off to another one. So if I lived in that house, it would not be unusual for me, is my point, to wake up and there be strangers in my house, or people that I feel weird about in my house, or people that scare me in my house, because, like I said, it was just a free-for-all. There was 5, hang on, 2. So there was 5 people in the house. There was Xana, Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, Maddie, Kaylee, Bethany, and Dylan, right? One had moved out, and Kaylee had moved out. She was just staying there that night because she was back in town and she'd got a new car and she'd gone out, show a friend and party and stuff. Just going to pause this because my daughter's coming in. Cleo wants to come and see her, and it's going to get wild. So give me a second.